What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness. I'm your host, Nick, Boston Card Hunter on Instagram. We are doing a totally different episode today. It's not on our usual day, but I thought it was important and really cool. Aaron, who's with me, he is a 14-year-old CEO of his own sports card company. We'll ask him about that later. He reached out yesterday, said, I want to be on the pod. So I said, you know what? We're going to do a pod about kids in the hobby because we haven't had a kid guest on yet. So it's super awesome to have you here. Welcome to the pod, Aaron.
Well, I'm happy to be history here.
The first one. Hopefully, we'll do some more, but this is great. So for the audience, Aaron is, I guess you'd say, a hobby influencer in a way. He's, I see him at most of the shows. He's got his own podcast, but even cooler, he's got his own sports card company called Tropic Collects, which I think is amazing. At the age of 14, I was just riding my bike around being an idiot in the 80s. And, he's actually like doing something productive with his life, which is awesome. So, um, Aaron, can you tell me a little bit about that company and why you started it?
Of course. I was inspired by a shop called Relics Cards and Collectibles, a shop in Toronto, as they have like a bin for kids to look through. So I wanted to kind of do my same thing here and try and inspire kids. So I decided, hey, why don't I do some content, make some content, edit it, and be like the kid of the hobby.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. I like that. I think we need more of that because the hobby can't just be old farts like me, or even older farts than me. You need some young blood and some kids interested. My son's 9 and I try to get him involved too. So I think that's great to spread awareness and get other kids into it. So, all right, how do you balance this company with going to card shows and school, right?
Yeah, the balance of school is not really there. Honestly, it's more cards over school.
That's so funny. Are you hopefully you're still getting good
Yeah,
grades and everything.
I'm doing fine in school.
That's
Um,
great. I mean, it's important to have fun at your age too.
of course,
And
yeah,
you don't want to be stuck in a with your nose in a book. I mean, I'm sure going to shows and meeting people is teaching
yeah.
you
It's
other
awesome. It
yeah.
teaches me deal making, negotiating, all that type of stuff.
So let's talk about that. What have you learned from going to card shows? As a 14-year-old, you just mentioned deal making and negotiating. What's something that pops out like a lesson you've learned in your
The
travels?
lesson I've learned
Mhm.
is buy low, sell high.
You laugh, but I think that that's an important lesson in life.
Yeah,
You don't want to be the guy that buys high and sells low. You definitely want to be the low high.
exactly.
Now, it's easier said than done, but it's a good strategy. It's a good
Yeah,
strategy. So you sell cards as well with your company, right? Tropic Collects.
yeah. So I have a website which
Mm-hmm.
was actually just redesigned called tropicollects.com.
Uh-huh.
You could get singles, slabs, eventually boxes, and a bunch of other things.
Very cool. So if I wanted to get a specific box, I could go to that website and grab it. And I imagine these singles are probably from you opening up things and it's either inventory you don't want. No, what's it from?
I don't rip.
You don't rip? Okay. Where
I,
are you
I
getting the
was
cards?
I haven't ripped for 2 years, honestly.
Whoa. You haven't opened a pack in 2 years?
No,
Oh my goodness. If somebody dangled a pack in front of you right now, would you open
of
it?
course, of course I would.
I'm gonna mail you a pack and you're gonna open that thing, man. That's crazy that you haven't ripped. So where are you getting the cards for the website?
I buy them off people. So I
Okay.
buy people's collections, buy singles, buy slabs off them, go to shops, go to shows.
And you try to buy low and sell
So
high.
high,
I love it. I
not
love
too
it.
high,
You
under
know,
par. Yeah.
if if any of your teachers in school are giving you trouble about a business course or something like that, just say, hey, listen, I got a website. It's operational. I'm CEO of this website. I'm 14. Come on, cut me some slack, give me some extra credit. So have them talk to me. All right, so here's my question. I almost want like a state of the hobby with kids right now. Now I know you're in Canada in Toronto, so it may be a bit different than Dallas, Texas, right? Or like San Diego, California. I imagine there's a massive hockey collector base in Toronto, right? And
Yeah.
it's going to be different. But I imagine you can also speak for kids in the hobby. So let's say, I don't know, you got 1,000 kids in your school, or however you want. We'll just make up a number. How many
Okay.
of those kids are interested in sports cards?
Not many, honestly.
Huh. That's
Especially being in
interesting.
high school. Like honestly, like meeting at shows, there's not many children or kids making deals and doing stuff which I'm doing. There's like maybe four in Toronto, which I could think of. My boy Greggy, me,
Greggy Sports Cards, right?
Greggy
I
boy,
know
yeah.
him. Yep,
He's
Greggy
awesome.
boy.
He's now the national ambassador too, as we're
Oh, good for him. That's all. He's great. He's really entertaining.
he's awesome.
So that's
Um,
funny, huh? Nobody, at your high school, it's not a ton. What about Pokemon and like non-trading cards? Is that popular at all?
like it was popular in elementary school, but not really in high school.
Yes, this is you're not the first person to say this, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but it's making me think about this hobby and its expansion. I'm not hearing like a ton of kids like doing this in school, and it's making me think the growth is from people like me who have come back in over the past few years. But we'll see. I mean, it's up to you, man. You got to like
Yeah,
raise
for
the
sure.
awareness. You got to tell them that collecting is cool. Like it's cool to collect.
It's cool to collect. There we
Yeah,
go.
that's your job,
National
Aaron.
model.
You gotta, yeah, you gotta drum up the interest. So
Of course.
what are some things that we can do to make kids more interested in the hobby or make it cool to collect?
So something which I'm doing personally is I own a card show now. And I've started this card show, free admission for all kids. You could set up wherever you want, put your stuff out, sell, buy, trade, and it's just a free space for kids to just sell, buy, trade, as well as we also host giveaways to get new people in. So
I
we
love it.
last year we had like 4K in giveaways, which is absolutely insane. And this
Wow.
year, June 1st, we're gonna go to the moon, baby.
To the moon. This is awesome. So you not only have a website, but you've also built and own your own card show. This is amazing. How long have you run this card show?
This is gonna be our second time doing this. It's with one of
Okay.
my partners. It's Josh and Maxie, awesome people.
Hmm.
So we're doing it, and we're teaming up with a bunch of shops, bunch of shows. Doc is sponsoring.
Dr. Collectible. All
Yeah,
right. We'll have to give him a shout out. That's great.
maybe a possible MC. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, you got to get him there. Come on, doctor. You got to help him out. That's awesome. So what I really like about that is you are a kid, right? So you could be like, this show is going to be cool because I'm there and you're going to like it because I
Of
like it.
course.
The fact that it's free is huge, right? You can just kind of show up. It's almost like these trade nights. They're free, but they're like on the floor. You're on like a blanket in the corner of a lobby. It's all unofficial. And I imagine you've got a space and you've got some tables, and that's
Yeah, for sure.
awesome. And that's fun for you because you can probably feed your other business, right? You can make deals with the people that come. Matter of fact, you should say it's
Of course.
free, but you have to give me one card, to set up here, and then you can build
No,
up your inventory.
no, I would never do that. Like something which people actually do with me is when someone comes to my table, I ask them, "What do you have to trade?" Let's say they have a base card. I say, "Pick something on my 5 bin and trade." So I kind
Okay,
of help them out that way too.
I like that. I like the giveaways too. That's um that's awesome. I like that. Hopefully you can, yeah, get the word out and your show grows and continues to do well. I imagine it will because you're doing well. And I'm very impressed with somebody at your age. So, what's funny to me, like I think about one of the things that scares me about the hobby, besides the gambling stuff, which we'll get into in a minute with breaking, but when I was a kid, okay, I'm old, I would say I started buying cards in like 85, 86. I was 5, 6 years old. I got Garbage Pail Kids. These packs were 25 cents. There's people older than me where the packs were a nickel, right? And, I go get baseball cards and they were like, a buck, 50 cents. You could buy a whole set for $20. I mean, it was junk wax, but um, what do you think of the prices nowadays on cards? Like how does that feel to you?
So that kind of adds up to like when I said I haven't ripped for 2 years, honestly, it's because the prices are insane. The chances of you pulling something out of that pack are like 1 in a million. Although it's fun, it's
Mm,
luck. It's
yeah.
definitely fun when you hit something.
Right. It's a good point. So that scares me too. So you literally have just said you said a lot of scary things. The first one was your high school, and then the second scary thing is right now where you're saying you haven't opened a pack in 2 years. Like that's messed up. Where are these packs going? If they're not going to a 14-year-old kid or like my son, and they're not ripping them, who's ripping them? I know the answer
I
to
know the
it.
answer too.
It's breakers who are ripping them, and it's people who can afford it who are ripping them, and it's adults who have disposable income who are ripping them. That's sad to me. I think even if the product is scaled down and lower quality, I feel like Fanatics, they've got to make some cards cheap that are just fun.
Yeah,
My
Fanatics is definitely going to try and do that. Even with Topps Chrome, that's actually going to probably be the first box I rip. Basketball Topps Chrome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I
I'm excited about
love
that
I
one.
love that set, so that's going to be amazing. But again, like I don't want to see 40-year-old men beating each other up at Target trying to get these boxes of Chrome or like lining up at the hobby shops. And then kids like you or my son, they have to go on eBay to get these things for 3 times the price. That's not cool. And that's going to piss people like you off. And then
What
when you're 16,
Fanatics is doing is they're stopping the reselling. So you can't
right?
sell for above the retail price, I think, for 30 days. Otherwise, they'll take away your Fanatics licensing, your,
That's,
your distribution.
I didn't know that. That's,
I've
that's
been a
actually
show
a
on
good way.
SBI.
That's a really good way to protect it. It's almost the model of movies, right? Like you run the movie in the theaters, you got 45 days, then you run it on at home, and that protects the theaters. And we're doing the same thing, like you're protecting the hobbyists for that window. Wow, very interesting. So so you haven't ripped a pack in 2 years. Have you? What do you think of this whole card breaking thing? Because this is new to me and something I discovered over the last 2 years. Do you like it? Hate it? You're somewhere in the middle. Have you ever entered a break?
So they're kind of entertaining to watch, honestly.
Mm,
I love hopping on backyard breaks, being a moderator in the chat, typing "Let's go," watching them pull these insane $5,000 cards, which you would never see, right? Like,
yeah.
and saying, "Oh wow, that's beauty,"
All
and
right.
screaming in the chat and stuff. But overall, like these breaks, they're gambling at the end of the day. They're
Yeah.
fun, but
Would
it's
you how would your parents feel if you entered a break like without telling them and spent like, whatever, I'll make up a number, $100 or something like that? Would they be upset with you? Would they not care? What do you
I
think?
mean, it would depend if I actually hit something, right? It's like buying a scratch. It's like buying a scratch ticket. Like you got to
Yeah,
scratch the ticket, see the numbers, and if they don't match, then you got to play again. It's kind of addicting.
yeah, I don't like that at all.
Neither do I.
For kids, like I wouldn't want my son like blowing his allowance on this, but I don't mind at all the entertainment value, right? Like if you're watching that as a show and it's just crazy and it's fun and
Yes.
you're watching people rip cards that like you're never gonna rip or buy or whatever, at least right now, I can see that. That's pretty cool. Interesting, yeah, I agree with you. It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. So
Right.
I I saw, I think it was a YouTube episode you dropped yesterday, and I always like to learn about my guests before they come on the pod. And I think Ray Schulte asked you what your dream card was, you and Greggy Boy cards,
Oh,
right? So
yeah.
I'm a big, I don't know if you know, but I'm a big 86 Fleer guy. Okay.
Oh, me
So
too.
I have the whole 1986 Fleer set autographed, every single one, including the stickers. Yeah, it's crazy. It took me
The
it took me a
Michael
while.
Jordan
Both Michael
rookie
Jordans,
card
both of them, both of
auto.
them. So that's my jam. I get this set, and when you said, "Oh man," it brought a tear to my eye. When you and I think both of you, you and Greggy Boy Card said your dream card is the number 57 Jordan 1986 Fleer
Of
rookie, not
course.
rookie, whatever you want to call it. I think it's the rookie. So
Yeah.
that made me so proud that you didn't say something like, "I want a one of one." logo man, triple logo man, just junk. Not junk. Junk's not a great word, but when there's 5,000 one of ones, it's not a one of one. And then you chose this like iconic, timeless card. They only made a couple 100,000 of them, and that's it in the world. So that's cool. So how come that is your dream card? Why is it the dream card?
Well, actually, I started off PC vintage, and I still PC vintage to this day. Like I have a Pistol Pete BGS 7 raw card review right now. BGS. I have a Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Julius Erving PSA 7 rookie in my collection at home. I recently got a Kobe Bryant Topps Finest refractor PSA 8. So I
Awesome.
love the 90s.
That's great.
Honestly, it's
Pistol Pete,
definitely
baby. So I have one of the 9 Pistol Pete autographed rookie cards in the world. I have one of those as well. It's
you
pretty
gotta
crazy.
show me your collection.
I
You
know I
honestly,
should have man. Yeah, I should have shown it on the pod. This isn't fair to you. But I'm on the PSA registry and the link is in my Instagram. If you go to the link tree and you can see my stuff and it's all
show
there.
me after the pod.
I will. I promise. I'll show you after the pod. Um, the MJ. I'm trying to think. You can get a PSA 1, probably 1,500. Never buy a raw one. I've done entire
Yeah,
videos on why
I,
not to do that. But
I don't want a raw. I want an altered, authentic, or PSA one.
yeah, I feel like
Even
I
an
don't know.
altered is nice. I don't mind altered.
So here's what I would do if I were you. Work your way up to one of these cards, right? I would join. There's a 1986 Fleer Facebook group. They're wonderful.
Ooh, I
That's
gotta
how
join that.
that's how I completed my set. And they have some pretty good deals on there, and they're pretty good people. I'm on there myself, selling things all the time. That's probably the cheapest place you'll ever get a Jordan because people kind of support the group and give better deals.
It's called the
But
1986 Fleer Basketball Collectors Group.
yeah, great. 6,000 of us strong. And now that you're an 86 Fleer guy, you'll have to join. So join that group. That's how we're going to try to get you your rookie. I'm going to help you wheel and deal and flip some cards to work your way to a
I
Jordan.
appreciate you, Nick.
Yeah, yeah. There's also some funny stuff on there where I have a buddy of mine putting together like a garbage set of 86 Fleer. So it's cards that not on purpose, but they're just
Like gum?
destroyed.
Like what do you mean? Like with gum and
Like
like
no, well, gum, even worse than that. Cards that have been like ripped in half or like dirt all over them, or
did you
like
see
it's
that
like
Jordan that they
yeah,
took off the red border off of? They
yeah,
snipped it
stuff like
off.
that. So he's trying to collect that. So it's a great group. All right, so back to the questions. We got a few more. Now, just thinking about you getting into the hobby and some of the scarier stuff that we've seen, what what would make you leave the hobby or stop collecting, or maybe you just wouldn't no matter what?
Nothing. Honestly,
Nothing.
I'm ready to go right at whatever hits me.
You're in
I'm
it for
down.
the long haul.
I'm in it.
Awesome. What? All right. Is there anything that you would change about the hobby right now?
Anything I would change?
Mm-hmm. Well, what
More
do you
kids,
not love?
more
Hmm?
kids in the hobby. I would
More
want.
kids.
Um,
Sounds like prices were
yeah, prices. Like honestly, I wish these Grail cards were a little more affordable.
right. Or even, I mean, like you said, you haven't ripped a pack in 2 years, so that's
Honestly,
not ideal for us. All right, so switching gears, our podcast will be at the national this year, and Larry's going to go representing us, and he's never been. Have you ever been to the national?
no.
All right. Now you've been to the Toronto show, I
Expo.
imagine, which is the second biggest card show in the world. Do you have any tips for the audience on how to attend a massive show like the one you go to in Toronto?
Make a plan.
Mhm.
um, like scope the floor a little. Make
Uh-huh.
your rounds. Don't
Okay.
buy right away. Don't blow all your money right away.
All right. I like it. I like it. Yeah, it's very overwhelming. The first show I went to was like a show in the town over from me, and it was like a 20 table show. And me and LZ were like, oh my God, it's the biggest show I've ever seen in my lives. What do we do? These so overwhelming. Look at all these tables and these cards. And it was like, dude, this is like the Holiday Inn, 2 towns over. And then we've like, gone up and up and up, to the regional shows and so on. So it's
Yeah, the
funny.
Nationals going to be overwhelming this year. The New
Yeah, I
Hampshire
can't even
Nationals
imagine. It's,
in
a
Cleveland.
5-day
I'm
show.
super excited.
Very cool. All right. I wanted to keep this punchy. You know what? I will ask you one more question before we close down and make sure
Sure.
people can reach out to you. If you could sit down and just have like have breakfast or dinner with any sports figure, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Ooh, Jordan.
Jordan,
Easy.
MJ, yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
He's the
You're, you
GOAT.
know, you're like the first. I think you're the first Jordan. No, you're the second Jordan. Scott Si King was on the pod, and he wanted to sit down with him so he could sign like 15 of his Sports Illustrated. So you're the second MJ. Awesome, good choice, man. All right, this has been really cool. So, Aaron, how can people go to your website? How can they go to your card show? And how can they follow you and see what you're doing?
Of course. So you guys can find me at Tropical X on Instagram, whatnot, YouTube, all that stuff. Um, Website tropicalx.com. If you go to the navigation bar, click on shows, you can find the card show there too. And also the shop and all that stuff, which I was talking about, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Great. And how can
And
they
also
find?
we have a podcast too. You can find that on Spotify, YouTube, everywhere you get your podcasts.
What's the name of the podcast?
Collector's Canvas.
Collector's Canvas. Excellent. Great. Thank you, Aaron. This has been refreshing. The first Kids in the Hobby podcast. And I had a blast talking to you, man. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick, for having me on.
You got it.